Hi, it's Gordon, Fat Old Climber. It's Moujaro Monday, so welcome to my Moujaro Diaries. If you're new to this channel, it's plotting my progress as a mediocre climber on my way to climbing a 7A. It covers mainly climbing, fitness and weight loss, of which the weight loss is mainly Moujaro. I've done a few videos so far and they've fallen into three categories. Tutorials, i.e. how to use the pen, how to use a syringe. General updates and reviews, like my 3-month review, and videos about getting the best value for money. For example, using the 5th dose, using short dosing, using a bigger pen, etc. But this one's different. Today, it's all about how to get the most out of your Moujaro in terms of making each dose as effective as possible. It's not about saving money or making your pens last longer. It's about maximising the effectiveness of each dose. And it's about doing something I haven't seen any other videos covering. Before I get started, I want to give a very clear disclaimer. I'm not a medical professional. I'm not a medical professional. I'm presenting this information for the purposes of sharing what I'm doing, having done my own research, weighed up the risk and made my own decisions. I'm just showing what I'm doing. I'm not advising anyone else should do it. You need to do your own research. You need to make your own decisions whether to follow the manufacturer's advice or not. With that out of the way, first a bit of background. I started my Moujaro just over 5 months ago, and in that time I've already lost 20% of my body weight, which is astonishing. It continues to work and I'm incredibly grateful for having found it when I did. I've been trying to control my weight for well over 10 years. And this is the first time that I'm genuinely confident it could stick. On to what I'm talking about today. First, the problem. Like many people, when I started Moujaro, I found that appetite suppression started almost immediately and lasted the full week. I found that food noise, the constant voice in my head telling me to go and find something to eat regardless of how hungry I was or not, disappeared overnight. However, like some people, I found that lately, by about day 6 or 7, the hunger's beginning to creep back in. I'm noticing myself hungry when previously I wouldn't have been. I don't get the food noise back, but I do get the hunger creeping back in. I'm still controlling it, but as I'll explain later, I don't want that. Let me know in the comments if you get this on day 5, 6 or 7. Anyway, I went ahead and did some research into what could be causing it, and that led me to what I'm decided to do now. Anyway, what I found was semaglutides like Ozempic and Wegovy have a half-life of 7 days, but Moujaro has a half-life of only 5 days. The makers of the pens decided for some reason that it would be too difficult for people to manage taking their medicine every 5 days instead of every 7, so they went ahead and made the recommended dose once every 7 days. I don't know why they thought it would be too difficult. Hold on. Remind me to take my Moujaro every 5 days. There you go. Yeah, that was really difficult. So as part of my research, I came across a doctor in America. I can't remember his name, but I'll put his name up here and I'll link the video in the description. He was actually exploring this, but he was using it to explore finding the ideal maintenance dose, which is something I'll do once I'm looking at tapering and coming off the drug. And he showed a website that basically allows you to track how much of the drug is in your system at any one point, depending on what dose you're injecting and the frequency of your dosage. That got me intrigued and I started looking into it further. I'll go into what I'm doing specifically in a moment, but first, let me show you the principles on the website. I'll need to go to my PC first. Okay, so let's open Chrome. And the name of the website is glp1plotter.com. And it takes you to this. So basically, what you put in here, I put this to 6 weeks. You can show it for 12, but what you'll find is the amount in your bloodstream doesn't really change after five weeks. So if, for example, we say I'm on 7.5 milligrams of Moujaro, and I'm taking it every 7 days as normal. If I plot it, what you can see here is it peaks at about 10.793 and the trough is 5.506. So basically what you can see is between day 1 and day 7, it's about half. So what you're finding is that this, by the day of injection, it's above what you're taking in your bloodstream, but by the day before, it's well below what you're taking. So then you think, well, I need to go up. So you go up to 10 milligrams. What you find is the peak is a lot higher, 14.39, and the trough is 7.3. So the high is a lot higher and the low is a lot higher, which is what you want. In fact, it's about your 7.5 milligrams. So all is good. However, the problem I have with these 7 days ones, what you can see is the difference between the peak and the trough is about 50%. So it's dropping by 50% between day 1 and day 7. If, however, you were to stay on 7.5 milligrams, but take it every 5 days, what you can see is it peaks at 13.8, which is almost as high as the 10 milligrams was reaching. But the low is 9. So the low is actually higher than the low on the 10 milligrams. And if I do a quick calculation, that's about 65%. So the difference, what you're finding is if you don't up the dose, if you stay at the same dose but increase the frequency, you're achieving about the same maximum as you would have if you'd up the dose, but your minimum is going up by almost double. And that's it. So what I recommend you do is go to this website, put in your examples and mess about with this, and you can make your own decisions. So what those numbers show me is that if you're taking a certain dose every 5 days, you have almost the same amount of drug in your system as if you were taking the higher dose every 7 days, but without as big a low in day 6 or 7. So that's what I've decided to do. By the way, if you're finding this useful or interesting, don't forget to smash that like button. It really helps the channel. And if you're not already a subscriber, consider subscribing. There are some things that need to be the case for this to work out in terms of when you order pens, etc., and how long they'll last. Firstly, you need to be using the 5th or golden dose. And secondly, you need to have a pen that has a bigger dosage than the dosage you want to take. For 2.5, a 5 milligram pen is fine. For 5 milligrams, a 7.5 milligram is fine. However, for 7.5 and bigger, if you only have the pen one dosage higher, it will only last the 4 weeks. You won't get extended life out of it. I'll explain that in a minute. So if you're taking 7.5 milligrams or higher, you ideally want a pen that's 2 pens bigger, 2 sizes bigger. There is another calculation you can make, but I'll show you that later. First, let me break down why this is the case. If you look here, we have 5 weeks. This here is where you take your first injection, and if you're taking it every week, you have a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. This would be your 4th injection, and then if you take your 5th dose, this next one will be a new pen. So if you're operating as normal, taking it every week, you'll get 5 injections out of a normal dose using the 5th injection. However, if you decide to inject every 5 days, this will be your first injection. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. This will be your second injection. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This will be your third injection. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This will be your 4th injection. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This will be your 5th injection. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This will be your 6th injection. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Will be your 7th injection. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then this will be your new pen. So the way this works out is for every 5-week period, you'll get 7 injections. So what that basically means is if you have, for example, a 12.5 milligram pen, 5 injections of a 12.5 milligram pen means the total milligrams in the pen is 62.5 milligrams, which is 12.5 times 5. If you're taking 10 milligrams, then this first injection will be 10 milligrams. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one will be 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one will be 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one will be 40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one will be 50. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one will be 60. So you will not get the 5 full weeks out of a 12.5 milligram pen that you're taking 10 milligrams. And that's true for 7.5 milligrams from a 10 milligram pen, 10 milligrams from a 12.5 milligram pen, and 12.5 milligrams from a 15 milligram pen. Obviously, if you're using a pen that's a lot bigger than the dosage you'll take, you'll get a lot more than 5 weeks out of it. So for example, if you're taking 5 milligram injections from a 10 milligram pen, you'll get 10 injections out of it, which is 50 days or 7 weeks. So your other alternative, if you don't want to have to order your pens every 4 weeks, is for the 7.5, 10 and 12.5 milligram pens from the one up, you can do a relatively easy calculation on how much to take. You can take slightly less than you want to take. The calculation is basically you take the dosage of your pen. So let's say it's a 10 milligram pen, and you multiply it by 0.7 or 70%, and that would give you 7 milligrams. Now if we look at that here, first dose would be 7, so a 10 milligram pen is going to have 50 milligrams in it. First dose would be 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Second dose 14, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 21, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 28, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 35, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 42, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 49, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, new pen. So if you don't want to have to order a pen every 4 weeks, if you want that extended life, then your only option, if you have those pens and you want to take the dosage just below the pens, is to take a slightly smaller dose. So what that equates to is 7 milligrams for a 10 milligram pen, 8.75 instead of 10 on a 12.5 milligram pen, and 10.5 instead of 12.5 for a 15 milligram pen. But as I said, the whole point of this is not saving money. The whole point of this is making sure that every dose is as effective as it can be. So either you make sure the pen you're using is two doses up from the dosage you want to take, or you take a slightly smaller dose, or you resign yourself to the fact you're going to have to order a pen every 4 weeks. So now, on to what I'm doing. From the start of this journey, I decided my primary focus was for the drug to be working as effectively as it could be. I wasn't interested in getting by or being able to handle hunger better. I'll be more than happy to explore those things once I'm tapering or coming off the drug. What I always planned to do was to go up the doses as high as I needed to without getting side effects. So I fully expected that by now I would be on 15 milligrams. As it is, up until recently, I stuck with 7.5 milligrams for a good few weeks, and once it started to not work, I upped the dose to 10 milligrams. But I don't have a problem being on 10. I don't have a problem if I end up being on 15 milligrams, because my primary focus is it's working as well as it can. As I said, I've just moved up to 10 milligrams. So what I'm going to do to maximize its effectiveness is I'm going to take 10 milligrams every 5 days. And I'm going to take it from this, my 15 milligram pen. So when I do the calculations, 10 milligrams every 5 days from a 15 milligram pen, the pen will last 5 weeks, which I'm more than happy with. So I'm still gaining a little in terms of how long the pen lasts, but I'm getting rid of the risk that on day 6 and 7, the effectiveness is reduced. I started that a few weeks ago, and on Friday I took my 4th injection every 5 days, and all I can say is it continues to work. I have had no feelings of hunger all throughout the period. I haven't had that day 6 or 7 hunger creeping in, and I've had no side effects other than the ones I've always had, the dry mouth and constipation, which are easy to manage. And my appetite is fully suppressed for all 5 days. So as long as this is the case, as long as it continues to work, as long as I continue not to get the feelings of hunger, I'm going to stick with this unless anything changes, unless any side effects creep in. At the beginning of May, it will mark my 6 months anniversary of starting Anniversary, and I plan to do a bigger review of progress and what it's been like. So watch out for that coming. Let me know in the comments what you think of this whole idea of taking an injection every 5 days instead of every 7 days. If you're still here, then thanks for watching. As usual, ask me anything, let me know in the comments. But remember, all of this is just decisions I've made about my treatment. You should do your own research, you should make your own decisions. But if there's anything I can help with, if there's any information you'd like, then feel free to ask me in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.